So, I don't know how many of you have ever been a best man before, but I've got to be honest, it's got to be one of the most traumatic experiences. For the last half hour, I missed seconds for this. I hope you realise how much I missed time. Anyway, so I've always thought that a wedding day must be the hardest for the bride and groom. Now, obviously, I've had to write a speech, so that's kind of changed everything, but in the last kind of day or so, I'm kind of starting to see that maybe I was wrong. Sorry, right, I meant to say right. I'm starting to see I was right. These guys have turned up today. They have to smile for photos all day, which is something we don't particularly practice for. Although Katrina has a very nice American swagger going on. With good teeth. Obviously, they have to look beautiful. Again, Katrina, well done. I'll get you a toupee later, Ian. Of course, you people have come from all over. They're friends, family, there's work colleagues I see at the back. I can see you've all been very well represented, so thank you for coming. Obviously, this mix of people is a very strange one because none of us would actually get together in any other circumstance other than this wedding. This is a pretty atypical day for all of us. It makes for a very strange time for us all. And to top it off, let's be honest, as a young Christian couple, there's only one thing that these two are waiting for right now. And if you haven't clocked, it's not first hand. Well, it's not technically. It's definitely not last week. I'll be honest, it's not something I want to think about right now, so we'll move on. Now, I need to say who I am. I've known Ian for the last 10 years, give or take, about 10 years. And in that time, we've lived a large amount of life together, which I think is one of the reasons why we're such close friends. And as I've thought back over our friendship, I have realised that it's been mostly built on awkward and uncomfortable experiences. Remember that time we spooned with a drunk machete-wielding Zambian? Yeah. If you don't know what spooning is, get some spoons together and imagine that people. It's not fun anyway, I'll put it that way. Or the time that we sat in my garage and overdosed on e-numbers. Ian was probably sick. That was an interesting afternoon. It looked like we were taking drugs in the garage, but we weren't. We were trying to make candy floss for charity. Which was to go on the trip to Zambia where we spooned with the guy. Or that time where we went camping out on the snow in the peaks at the bottom of the mountain, New Year's Eve. It's all very broke up. As it is to have such vivid experiences with you. If I'd known these things were going to happen, I think I might have made some different decisions with my life. Actually, to be fair, over the last 12 months, I've not only lived with Ian, but I've worked with him in one of the best companies in the world. I'd like to say, best chocolate company in the world. And it's not necessarily Mars. I'll leave you to work out which one it is.
Roundtree.
It's not this means that short of sleeping with Ian, we spent way too much time together, so I think I'm pretty qualified right now to talk about his life. Now, I guess our relationship, actually our friendship, got to that point where it's time to take it to the next level. Ian thought so too, so he's got married. I don't know what you're trying to say, but as I've understood it, my job in the next 10 minutes is to inform Katrina of some of Ian's better character traits and habits, which are of course few and far between. But there are a few, and I can point them out for you. And seeing as a moment ago I was talking about sleep, I think I should probably start there. Now, when I said that we hadn't slept together in the last few years, I was mostly lying. We've actually slept together too many times for me to remember. In a good way, it's fine. And if you've ever slept in the same room as Ian, which I hope most of you have, by the way, you would know that, just like Katrina, he's a keen musician with his tonsils. Now, unlike Katrina, he chooses to spend the majority of his tonsil playing when everyone else is trying to get a bit of sleep. So, Katrina, the first 20 minutes of your wedding night with Ian, I'm sure, will be wonderful as you drift off into sweet bliss with your beloved. But please let me warn you, if at some point in the night you think there may be a small collection of bears attempting to make it home to your bed, somewhere in your face, the chances are it's Ian. And a quick slap in the face or a kick to the kidneys does really well. Now, if you manage to survive the night without wanting to quietly smother Ian away, the chances are you will wake up before he does. I say chances. This is actually one of the great laws of nature. It's hard to wake up. Let me actually wake up. Sometimes he looks awake. Of course, as the day progresses, like a beautiful flower, Ian unfurls his petals, fully blooming around 2 p.m. before he heads back into his favourite position, around about 3 o'clock, which is horizontal with his eyelids shut. Now, all this leads me to believe that Ian isn't that dissimilar from probably his favourite animal, which is the cat. So I have a gift for you, Ian.
No!
Please open it. Tiger suit was the closest I could get. It's a onesie. So there you go, that's gift number 1. I hope you enjoy it. Now, most of you will probably also know, as I've already relayed in some of the things I've already said, that Ian is the master adventurer. And I think my most consistent memory of time with Ian relates to journeys and adventures. We have been all over the world together. We've been to Russia, we've been to Zambia, we've been various places in Europe, places in the UK. Maybe some others as well. I've already referenced a few of them, but I wanted to tell you about one such weekend we spent together because it has a big impact on today. About 18 months ago, it snowed in Sheffield quite a lot. And for a long time, I'd wanted to see the sunrise in the peaks on New Year's Day, which is one of my little things. Don't know why. We both set out on New Year's Eve, having been a New Year's party. We set out for the peaks with a tent, some beers, and not a lot else. And the snow was heavy. Let's just say that. It was a good foot deep most of the way. We went to a small village called Castleton, which is not far away from here, and to a large hill called Mantor. We pitched up our tent on the snow, which as I said was about a foot deep, and then realised that it was quite cold and we were pretty ill-equipped. And we were using a pop-up tent, which is not really designed for that kind of Arctic weather. Anyway, we embraced our decision-making, cracked open some beers and settled into shivering, while fireworks went off around the valley. It was all very, very romantic. It was at this point that my phone rang and my parents called to wish us both Happy New Year. I can't remember whether you remember this or not, but my dad, probably wondering why we were out there by ourselves on New Year's Eve, decided that it was time to give us some advice on life. He said, and I quote, "Steve, I want you and Ian to get girlfriends this year." It's about time. So we both duly obliged. Mine failed. The relationship, by the way, not the girl. But Ian, of course, asked out Katrina, and just over a year later, here they are. So the moral is, do what your dad says. Unless you're me, then there is no moral. And just for the record, don't sleep on snow. It's very, very uncomfortable. So to remind you of your gift as an adventurer, I have a second present for you. A small present, but hopefully a very useful present. This is a leatherman knife, which I'm told by the guy in the shop, who really like knives. A little bit too much. That scary eye. This was the best kind of knife you could get. So,
This.
there we go. Okay, that's useful to you. Now I have a third gift, which I'm going to give you straight away. In fact, this one's pretty tricky. It does look like a giant cracker, but it isn't a giant cracker. I just don't know how to wrap cylinders. Now, this present, I've already mentioned Ian's musical ability with his mouth, but he also has a very remarkable ability with the opposite end of his body. Katrina, this is a lovely scented candle. I don't want to say any more about this. Now, my final gift is a joint gift. Not for you both, sorry. It's a joint gift from a group of people. So, sorry, but still here. Not that you won't benefit from this, of course. I'm now going to show you, very persuasively, how you will benefit from this gift. Now, the people at Cadbury's, who are partly represented at the back, where they are, people at Cadbury's, and we all work together, have clubbed together for this gift. And it will almost certainly be the most useful and practical gift you'll receive today. Now, Katrina, initially you may be a little bit against it, but this gift, in my very narrow, completely uninformed opinion, is the lifesaver for any marriage. Now, I happen to know from very painful experiences that if you lay even a finger on Ian, he has a nasty habit of being a little over the top with his response, especially if he thinks you may be tickled. Now, as a way of dealing with this slightly wild side to Ian, we've brought him this gift. And it's for his own good, and to remember that. He may not always want to use it. In fact, there may be days when he's very reluctant to use it. But for his and your sake, you must let him and encourage him to use this gift. This gift, this gift is like a gentle rub to the earlobe, or an afternoon drive to have tear chats with. Like a deep sigh, or warm, freshly ironed bed sheets, like the smell of summer rain, the sound of the Serengeti playing, a hot bath with scented candles when Ian likes them hot. Anyway, I'm getting ahead of myself. Well, let's say the gift isn't that bad. I may have overplayed it slightly, but I feel like I should give it to you now before you give up in suspense. I'm good as well on this panel. Like a little kid. Look at Katrina's face. So that's from everybody at Cadbury's, so you can thank them all later. Now, on a more serious note, although Katrina, I feel like I do know you pretty well, there are plenty of people in this room who know you better than I do, so I'm not in a position to talk about who you are. But I have spent enough time with Ian to think, at least I think, that I know him better than most people in this room. And knowing him as I do, I can safely say that he is the most loyal, trustworthy, and understanding best friend I could ask for. Ian's not only taken the time to listen to me, and plenty of other people in this room, but he offers advice at the best and most needed times that is wise beyond his age and full of experience and character. I cannot count the number of times that I've started doing something with Ian, feeling very tired or low, and by the time I finish, we're both laughing and have a new perspective on life that is fresh and energising. I don't think you need me to tell you this, but Ian has an amazing ability to tell a story or make an observation that can change your mood and make you laugh in seconds. And all this is not because Ian is the funniest man I know, because he isn't. But because he looks to serve people in everything he does as often as he can. His focus is rarely on himself and invariably on what he can do to make life better and more encouraging for you. Now, not only this, but Ian has had for a long time a strong and inspiring faith in his God.